What's going on, my creative collective? Welcome to your July 16th creative unconscious reading. You will probably hear in my voice, I'm a little bit under the weather. I had enough energy just to kind of come on and put this together for everybody. Then I am going to retreat back to my nest, watching mindless TV, maybe some Disney and stuff. So that is my happy place when I'm not feeling well, is under the covers and watching cheesy romantic movies or cartoons. So nonetheless, though, let us away. I set the intention before doing this. I don't really have any, I was meditating on the energy, and there are a lot of themes that came up, but it was a lot of like this like upheaval energy, but not in a bad way, just pulling up roots of things that were rotting in our lives, right? So, yeah, so we are just going to dive right in and give this a whirl. So, Spirit, what messages do you have for my creative unconscious collective for July 16th, please? Never ending story. Yeah, that's what it's kind of felt like. I feel like the full moon maybe illuminated some things like that, where it's just this perpetual loop, this seeming perpetual loop. Yeah. But it's almost like a never ending story where it's like your heart is disconnected from something. Yeah, not for you. Your heart is disconnected from something here. Like there's a part of you that's just like apart from it. Like it's like split from it. I apologize if I do sound like Marge Simpson or her sisters. Ugh, so far the COVID tests have come back negative. Yay! So I'm very excited for that. So it's just hopefully a summer cold. But I appreciate your patience with it. So there's something that's like this never-ending loop. It feels like it just, I'm seeing like Bill Murray in Groundhog Day, where it's like all just, like, but there's something 222 on the time where he has to like, there's like a moving forward thing. Like there's got to be something, there's some shift. And I think it's this recognition. I almost see this as like Jupiter energy. Not for you. The 6 in the traditional Rider-Waite is the Lover's card. So to me, it's about connections and things, which would be befitting this. And I feel like there's maybe something that you were like, it's almost like a game. Not a game, like, how do I word this? This is like, the energy to me feels like it's like a game that you thought like you were trying to play, and it just didn't work, and you're like, forget it. No, like there's something where you just close the door on it, and there's like a finality to it, and there's like an end. You put a period onto the end of that sentence, and you're like, no, right? And sometimes you have to do that. Like it doesn't matter how much something impacts you. You just have to let it go. Right. And like you have to reach that point. Sometimes it takes intervention. Sometimes it takes professionals to help, especially if there's any kind of PTSD injecture into that. That can make loops and, ADHD too. Like there's rumination. Like you can sometimes need either more time or specific energies to help you like shake things loose. So I think this is just about being patient with yourself as well, while also making space for any frustration that you might feel. And I think where this in kind of meets with this creative unconscious, I think it's like these mechanisms in the past, in the like these mechanisms in your mind that may have been, that might have felt like strategic moves, like you were trying to be strategic or put things in a specific place, and it ended up taking away from your energy. But it was like you mistook what you were doing as like luck, as Jupiter, but it's like you were actually the architect of where you were. And I think it's like, it would not shock me if there's some like feeling of, I want to say like accountability from a place of like, okay, now what am I going to do about it? Right? What am I going to do here? Serendipity. Yeah, this is like the other side. This is where it's like it's like you really start to come face to face with fate, because it's almost like just by saying that, just by being like, I'm willing, something like it just clicks into place. And sometimes you have to just say that, right? You have to just say like, I'm willing. And this is a 9. If 1 + 8 is 9. And so that tells me it's like the ending of a cycle. Like, it's like you just end it. You just end it. You burn the bridge. You say F it. You're like, nope. And it just goes. I'm feeling this like relief, like this heavy sigh inside. It's like a heavy sigh, and it feels really good. I'm not gonna lie. It feels really freaking good. But I think that what you need to embrace is like the clear perspective. Not for you can mean just thoughts that you're having. That can just mean like perspectives that you have, or the way that you are perceiving strategy. So there's a book I'm reading right now by Henry Kissinger. Let me grab it. Hang on. And in it, he talks about strategy. I'm going to see if I can get the first couple pages where he talks about that. I just found it to be really interesting because I thought about strategy in different ways. Yes. Okay. So on page, I don't know this Roman numeral, but it's XVI. So you do the math. Strategy describes the conclusion a leader reaches under these conditions of scarcity, temporality, competition, and fluidity. In finding the way ahead, strategic leadership may be likened to traversing a tightrope, just as an acrobat will fall if either too timid or too audacious. A leader is obliged to navigate within a narrow margin suspended between the relative certainties of the past and the ambiguities of the future. So it's almost like seeing strategy through the lens of like, because like when you're operating under the conditions of scarcity, temporality, competition, and fluidity, it's like those are much lower vibe, right? They're outside of abundance. So it's like where you were seeing that, maybe that's your perspective. That's the perspective you were holding. Thank you so much, Spirit, for that. And that's like what you're here to embrace, is understanding that that's like the lesser energy, that's like one of the lower energies that you could be embodying right now, right? So it's like understanding that that's not for you. That thing that you want is not for you. It's the way that you're perceiving of the game itself that is not for you, because it doesn't honor your energy. It doesn't honor your capacity. It doesn't honor what's possible for you, right? It just doesn't honor any of those things. So you're in a place of, you're just in a place of renegotiating these energies for yourself. And I think the beauty is that you're embracing this and you're releasing serendipity. To me, it's like giving it up. Like that's what allows you to surrender and to soar, because then you don't have to have the specifics. Then it can just be. Then you can just let go. And I think that's what you need. That's the 9. That's why it's a 9, right? And what's beautiful about the never-ending story is that's where it's like, it can feel like that, right? Like when those are your metrics. Let me read that again. So think of this as like your metrics, okay? If your metrics include scarcity, temporality, competition, and fluidity, what the hell kind of frequency are you at most of the time, right? So this adds up to a 10. So it's like it can feel like a never-ending story. And in so many ways, like activism, politics, all of that, that's what they operate under, right? That's what they operate under, is this idea of revering strategy from that perspective. But what if we revered strategy from a place of abundance, from a place of pulling back in this objective view? What if we saw it in that way, as opposed to in this like, what would the opposite of all of those look like? Like, what would strategy be like if it was not necessity? Like if it wasn't, I mean, that's the way the world has played the game. But is that the way we need to continue to play the game? No. So what are the new rules? And if we make those, sorry, I squeaked right there. Well, that's bad. But what are the rules then? If serendipity is the basis, if this is the chessboard, as it were, of release, what then does all of that look like? What does that look like for us? And how much more can we open up to when we get into that place of anchoring in abundance? What about strategic abundance, strategic overflow? Like, can the word even exist the same, right? You know, and I have so much Aquarius in my chart that like the strategy thing it's been on my mind, spinning a lot, not in a way of like manipulation, but just the leadership. Like, what does foresight include? What is, how do we make meaning from things and integrate lessons and then move forward from a position of leadership? Like, what does that mean for us, right? So, This serendipity, Spirit, can you give me some messages on that? Where we go from here? Chaos and conflict. Interesting. See, and I feel like what I'm seeing right here, so this is a 3-3. That was pretty clear. Thank you, Spirit. This is a 3-3 card, and what I see is it's almost like there's this way that like this is, to me, strikes me as inauthenticity, not from external circumstances. Again, with this card, right? It's not from external circumstances. This is like you doing you in a way that is disconnected, and that's possibly where this strategy has been coming from. Like, isn't that where competition comes from? Isn't that where all of this stuff, like, isn't that where all of this comes to life in a really harmful way? And then we have community. Yeah. And that's where it's like, it's almost like what I love here is that it's this realignment with who you are, right? Do you see the giraffe pattern here? And then the giraffe in community. And it's like this, I mean, it does, this makes me feel so good because community is everything. Yeah, community is everything. And I feel like that's where things start to realign. And it's like the coming together of yourself, like within yourself. And I think that community might be helping you to do this. It could also just be this way that you're able to show up authentically with others, with your people again. And I say again, because I feel like there's a way that this hasn't always happened, right? Like this wasn't always the case. It's almost like you locked away a part of yourself. You locked away a part of yourself, and I get it. Like, we all do that. But you got to give it up. Like, you got to give it up. One of the things that I've had to deal with was feeling like I couldn't speak, or like I shouldn't be speaking or saying things, and, having people like literally tell me that I should not be speaking, quote unquote, you shouldn't be speaking. And like when prominent figures tell you that, and you approach them with the vulnerability of being willing to admit that you're wrong, and they say that to you, it can really do a number on your sense of self. And it's almost like you have to just let go and say, you know what? If you won't see me the way I see me and honor me in a way that is in the interest of both of our highest good, goodbye. Like it, and that sounds so harsh, but you have to really push them out of your mind, because it's just not. It's a dying definition of strategy. We can look at it like, and that book is very informative, so I'm not speaking down to the book. I quite like it so far. What I'm talking about here is it's a dying definition of strategy, in that the only thing that definition of strategy does is define the past. So what the hell are you going to do with your future? What are you going to do with your tomorrow, right? How are you going to manifest what's coming? How are you going to manifest something different for your life? How are you going to put those things into motion for you? Because of where you've been. So what are the new definitions of strategy going to include for you? How are you going to define that, right? And letting those speak volumes, letting those things be true for you. Because if you look at the mechanics of surrender, right? If you look at the like, what does surrender mean in the everyday? Well, it's not a thing that you do. It's built into hundreds of different behaviors and thoughts you think and beliefs you hold, right? So you have to get to a place where you give not a single shit. You have to get to that place where it's like, you're going to offend somebody no matter what you do. You're going to piss somebody off no matter what you do. You're going to upset people no matter what you do. Don't let it be because you're breathing. Don't let that be the thing that makes you draw specific breaths or exhale in specific ways, because then that gets to the level of your existence. And I can tell you with confidence that you did not come here to be a mistake, and you did not come here to be the recipient or receptacle of other people's disdain, because you decided to do something for you and have an opinion and have something that means something to you, right? It just doesn't work that way. So it's almost like this, and I feel like we're getting to that place collectively. Like, this isn't just about this particular reading. I think collectively with things that we make, like Andrea Gibson had something on Instagram. The little graphic was posted talking about not wanting to be part of communities where people are so afraid to make things because they're so afraid of offending or all of this stuff. Like it's like people get immobilized and don't want to create, and it's like, well, then what are you here for? Then that's counting you out. That's strategy. That's strategic, but it's an old definition of strategy. It doesn't honor your Jupiter. This to me strikes me as more Jupiter. This is like Jupiter, but the like reverse of it, right? Like this is giving up the struggle, giving up the need to believe that you're here for anything less than joy. And if people don't like that, let them not like it, because that's their journey. You can't take on other people's karma. You can't take on other people's paths and journeys and expect that to be able to transmute it, because that's not an act of transmutation. That's an act of codependence. That is active codependence and an act of codependence, because what you're doing is assuming that you can transmute energy that doesn't belong to you, and you can't do that. You can transmute your energy with what's inside of you, but you're not here to regulate other people's emotions. You're just not, right? So I don't know. This is like coming out super intense. Whoa. I'm going to clarify these here and just see where this takes us. Eight of Swords on the never-ending story. Yeah, it's almost like you couldn't really see a way through. Like not being able to see a way through. But you may have also needed that time, right? You may have needed that time to get sick enough, either of your own stuff or the way that this stuff made you feel. But it's like I feel like there's like a sharp like ending to it, the star. Yeah, there's a sharp ending here where it's like, I feel like the 6 is like this decision, the Fool on the bottom. Yeah, it's like this ending, this decision, the Hermit. Yeah. Definitely Ace of Swords. Oh my goodness. This feels so good to me. It's like, I feel like I'm hearing the song. Oh my gosh. Thank you, Spirit. I'm hearing the song, I'm Coming Out. Yeah, that's like, it's like this leap. Like you're like, this is you being like, screw it. But instead of it coming from a 10 of Swords place, it's coming from a very, it's coming from a healed place, a healing place. It's coming from a place of wisdom. It's coming from a place of honoring your truth and stepping into things. The Fool strikes me significantly as like, I think of the Hierophant and the Fool as two different kinds of faith that we have in things. We have faith in ourselves. The Hierophant is like faith in institutions and systems. Sometimes that's okay. There's not really a right or wrong answer because they both yield different things, right? But I feel like this beautiful, the way that having faith in yourself and not just your capacity to handle what comes your way, but that there's something unique in you that needs to shine, So like, what does that look like, and why does it matter what a single other person says? I do want so badly that cross stitch thing, and I'm going to say it again here. My friend had showed it to me, and I was like, oh my gosh, I would like that so very much. But it says, behold, so you can even look this up. It's a Shakespearean phrase, and it's beautiful. It's, behold the field in which I grow my fucks, lay thine eyes upon it, and you will find that it is barren. Sometimes you have to do that. And it's not because you're angry. It's not because of, coming at the world with the defensive brr. It's, you have to say that to yourself occasionally to remind yourself that it's not your job. It's not your job to strategically manage the lives of other people, to strategically manage, because what you're doing, this is like again, it's like all it's doing is taking old energy and it doesn't go anywhere. It doesn't help much. So it's just like, what are you going to do with that then? You can't get it wrong. There's no way to get it wrong because it's your truth. It's your truth. So if you're living from the place of your truth, my cat keeps jumping. I'm sorry, baby girl. I'm talking with my hands a lot today. So if it's your truth and it's authenticity, how can you possibly get that wrong? That's impossible. That's not what the Ace of Swords is for, right? The Ace of Swords is you standing in your power and your truth. And you don't have to cut with the sword because the sword shines on its own, right? This isn't a sword for fighting. This is a sword for saying, like, this is a statement. It's a statement sword. So ridiculous. But it's just how it is, right? Like, it's this statement that you're making, but you're making it because of who you are, because it's this deep wisdom within you. And I feel like you're choosing to, it's almost like the way I look at this is like the hermit deciding to leave the hermiting place, the hermit hole. I don't know what the hell it's called, but it's like deciding to leave that place, to close the laptop, taking the leap because there's this healing that's taken place. And it's almost like where you are in this Eight of Swords, you realize that it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter whether or not the swords stay there. What matters is whether you stay in place alongside them or not. What matters is whether you move on or not. And so are you moving on? And I think you are. I get the impression that that's well underway. That's well underway. But like, feel that truth in your bones. You can't get it wrong. Spirit, can you give me more messages here on this not for you, please? And thank you. Temperance, Sagittarian energy. See, I still said it, Sagittarius. I haven't done my individual sign readings as yet recently, but yeah, temperance. So it's like, this is where it's like you're coming back into balance, back into yourself. And I feel like this is where Jupiter kind of, it's almost like a divine intervention of sorts. Where it's like this is like, it brings you back home to yourself. Yeah, King of Pentacles. It's like it brings you back home to yourself. This sense of stability it brings back, because you realize when things come back into balance, you see that this is just strategy. It's just this old way of thinking, this old way of doing things that doesn't serve you. It doesn't help, right? It doesn't help. And it's because that's not what it's meant to do. Eight of Pentacles. Yeah. I feel like I'm hearing blood, sweat, and tears. There's been a lot of that, but it doesn't have to be that way though. Like, you may believe that hard work is great. Like, I love work. I love working because it's like, this is where when, like with this channel and everything, it's like, it gives me so much damn joy. I just love it so much. 2 on the time. And it's not that I didn't think I could love doing something this much, but it just brings me to life in a different way, right? It just does that. And for a while, I thought like, oh, I need to, integrate all these other things and should I keep doing tarot? Should I keep doing this? How do I, blah, blah, blah. I don't know if I should, and you just get caught in this, like, start with the joy, leave everything else out. You can't get it wrong. What feels best? What is you? What makes sense for you? And your people will find you, right? You don't have to, you're not going to get like hundreds of thousands of followers right out of the gate. That's not the point. Right. And for some people it is, in which case I applaud those efforts. But it's just like when you connect to, it's almost, this is the other thing too, is like, this is like connecting to something bigger than yourself. Because this is like your small self at work, right? This is your small self at work. And I almost feel like this is your higher self. This is the energy of your higher self. And the work is built into it. It doesn't look like work though, right? It doesn't look like work. Because it's not. It doesn't look like work because it's not. Spirit, can you clarify that? Eight of Pentacles for me, please. Yeah, the Lovers. That's the choice. Oh, the Queen of Swords on the bottom. So much clarity. This is making me smile so much. Oh my gosh. It's so good. It's like, this is just like resonating completely. And it's like, it's like this decision. It's like when you're set and not like set in your ways, not set in your ways. This is like an energy of releasing, because you're like, yeah, I know what I need to give my attention to. I know what I'm planting in my field of fuck this year. I'm swearing a lot in this one, but it's fine. But it's like you make that decision, and it's your decision. It's yours. It's yours. And it's almost like this illuminates a different kind of foundation for you that's possible, right? And it's not like just do a couple meditations and you'll be fine. It's like there's something that is fundamentally shifting here. There's something that's fundamentally shifted. Like it's like a no going back energy. Yeah, no going back. That's where I feel like the Two of Swords can represent indecision, but I also feel like this is waiting for information to arrive. And I feel like you're stepping away from that. You're stepping outside of that. She's very annoyed. I'm going to annoy her some more. Oh, she's so sweet. You see, she opened her eyes and looked at me from the side. This is such a sweet animal. Oh my gosh. See, there's the decision. This is like you make the decision, and it's almost like this is what it looks like on the outside. Like this is what everyone sees, but this is what's happening on the inside. And when it happens, people are like, "Oh shit!" But it's like you're like, "Well, I've actually been happening for a while." Like, welcome. But it's almost like this is where it's like you're letting other people in on this little secret that you've got, that you're like a badass, that kind of idea. Yeah, the moon. It's like people can't see it. They can't see it. They couldn't see it. Maybe they didn't want to see it. Yeah. There was something where it's like it wasn't obvious. And I feel like people might say like, well, this isn't right. This isn't who you are. Yeah. This is almost like badass energy. Like you're moving forward, right? You're moving forward. And this is Cancerian energy as well. Yeah. I get the impression that this energy is almost like people will say like, "Oh, I thought I knew you," blah 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 blah, all this stuff, and they're trying to like convince you of all this stuff. They're like, "Wait, wait, 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 wait," because they feel like they're under the moon, right? When I came out as trans and then I started to transition, some people were upset because they felt like they didn't know me, and it's like, no, 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 this was always there. It just like we don't owe each other the depths of these things. We don't owe one another all of that, right? And I feel like this is the ultimate nature of this energy is release. And it's like then you come up being like, let me introduce myself, let me reintroduce myself. And that's where it's like this momentum forward. You're like, boom, moving on. And I feel like this is just a sweep of, I feel like there's been a lot of like cycles ending and things like that coming up in the readings. And now I'm just like, this is where the new gets in. Yeah, 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 yeah. Let's do it, right? Like you're just moving forward, moving on. Yeah, there's still, I feel like there's this to me, the Emperor on the bottom. Yeah, yeah. Oh my gosh. And the Ace of Wands. And the Ace of Cups. What? The Ten of Pentacles. Good Lord. And the Four of Wands. Okay, so what the... Okay. I was like, at first I saw the Seven of Cups and then the Emperor, and I was like, yeah, you've got a lot of different decisions to make, but you're doing it beautifully. You're doing it well. If you're not looking for love, this could just be about the way that you're connecting to your own stability, your own heart space, or deepening connections and relationships that you're in. But if you are looking for love, I have very good news for you, because we have the Ace of Wands and the Ace of Cups, and then we have the Ten of Pentacles and the Four of Wands. So there's like new, and I feel like the beautiful part is like, this is where the light gets in, because it's like, as soon as you decide and you're like, you know what, I'm gonna offend people no matter what I do, but like, you know, I'm gonna upset people, I'm gonna let people down, I'm gonna not meet people's expectations, I'm gonna do that no matter what. You're here and you're alive. Welcome. That's what happens. That's what we do here. We just have different ways of looking at it when we haven't been told that we are responsible for other people's behaviors, right? So that's where it's like clearing the decks. It's like you're clearing the decks with this energy, and you're like, no, let me reintroduce myself. And it's almost like you're giving people all of these, very generous. I feel like this is a very gracious thing that you do. And it's like you give people this different way of seeing you. You're like, here are 7 different ways that you can take in this information. You can choose one of them, but I don't have to do anything other than just be myself, right? I don't have to do anything other than just be who I am. And there are all of these different ways. This is also a lesson too, that like, you can show up as the Emperor, and there are still going to be 7 to 20, whatever, different ways that people will perceive you. And you know who's in the Seven of Cups? One person. That's the other person, right? So it's like you have no business taking responsibility for how that person perceives you, because that's the small you working. That's small you at work. That's small you. You didn't come here to be an Eight of Pentacles. You came here to be a fucking Emperor. So step into that, because the energy's here. And I feel like you are. I don't feel like I need to impress that upon anyone, but you are here in that energy. Like, there's new opportunities that are going to come that will reflect back to you your own power, your own creativity, how much love you have to give, how much love you want to receive. But there are going to be opportunities that come that show you not who you are, but what you had within you the whole time. And when you're in that energy, it's not that you're unstoppable. It's that you align with the energy that makes it so. Because it's a choice that we make, right? We have to choose that. We have to choose ourselves. And that's what choosing yourself means. That's what the mechanics of surrender mean. And it brings in all kinds of stability. Relationship stability, work stability, creative stability. And it's not just something that you can sink your teeth into either, like that, because that implies like, I'm going to take a bite of this apple and then blah. This is like a life thing. This is something that you're going to carry with you for the rest of your life. Not because it's a burden. Not because it's a burden. You're going to carry the moment that you chose you over all the things that people told you you should have been or could have been. None of it matters. And I think that this is where you begin to see what does. This is what commitment looks like translated into the cards. This is what commitment can look like when translated through surrender. Don't work with old definitions of strategy to get what you want. It's all lack. And it's all bullshit. And most of the time, the people that you want to align with will see right through it. They'll see right through you. So like when you realize that when you're like, oh, what? And you realize that people just looked right through you. You're not going to feel like the Emperor. But you have to understand that when you show up in a page energy, telling people that you are an Emperor, it's okay, because you have to level up in different ways. We all have that throughout life, right? There's nothing wrong with that. It's when you are invited into a new perspective of yourself and you stay there and you anchor and you're like, this is the way it's supposed to be. So I'm going to clarify these last ones here, if my cat will let me. Can I have this, please? Can I tuck this? No? Oh, she's going to give me the what for. Spirit, what messages do you have on these last cards here for my creative unconscious reading? So we have the Knight of Cups. Don't you sass me. Don't you sass me. Knight of Cups. Did you see that tail? She was sassing me. So we have the Knight of Cups. So this is on chaos and conflict and community. And the beautiful part, Queen of Pentacles. Oh, chef's kiss. Wonderful. Okay, so what I love about this is it's like you showing up in your authentic self, right? And bringing all of you, your whole ass self into something. Yeah, it's bringing the whole you into something. Oh, 3-3-3-3 on the time. Oh shit, and that's a 3-3 card. So it's like, I'm hearing the word inevitable. Like maybe it was an inevitability. But it's like all of the things that you constructed within you to tell people who you were. And all you really needed to do to experience freedom, community, love, passion, exchange was show up as exactly who you are. That feels like a tough thing, doesn't it? Because like, what does that mean, right? What does that even mean? It sounds great on paper and then like, you know, these little quotes on social media, but what does it mean in your everyday? How does it translate into something far more practical? Yeah. I think the Knight of Cups and the Queen of Pentacles are here because it's just like this way that you show up differently. You show up differently. And like what this is, the Knight of Cups is like what you have to offer others. You know, like I'm the type of person that can't, like, if this is romance, like I find it challenging to fall quickly for folks because I need to know your mind. Like I need to know, you know what I mean? I'm talking to a geek, but still, like I feel like I need to know a depth of somebody before that can happen. And it's almost like it, and there's nothing wrong with that. Sometimes passion is amazing. Well, I mean, it always is, but like there's ways that that can happen, but it's like until you know yourself that deeply as well, you can't offer of yourself. You can't offer of you. So you really have to let go. You have to let go of that. And this Queen of Pentacles energy is like knowing thyself. So when people say, like I've seen it on different readers' channels, who specifically is escaping me, so I do apologize for that. But, you know, messages of like, to thine own self be true. I think it was Tarot Time with Dana, I want to say. Ooh, but I can't remember for sure. So again, take that for what it is. But to thine own self be true. That's a Queen of Pentacles move. That really is. That really is. But it's almost like it allows you to be a Knight of Cups to someone. It allows you to be in that energy, whether it's at work, you know, to be that facilitator for something so exciting, for something so thrilling, right? And just letting in the excitement and be okay with being excited without the need for fucking strategy. You don't need to be strategic about excitement. If people, you know, and even I've had to get over my own ass about this with when it comes to like feeling like, oh, my ideas are so precious and special because I'm such a, no, they're not. Most of the things that people put out into the world have been said already 6 ways to Sunday. And we're taking it and putting our own spin on it energetically, because if it's true for our lives, then we can talk about how it's been integrated for us. We can talk about how we've done it. We can talk about what it means for us, right? So it's just like, it's understanding that like that's where it's like when you need to have a strategy for something, it's coming from lack. It's not about goals or anything like that, because goals are a different, abundant energy. Strategy, and this, I say this while reading a book about leadership and strategy. But, you know, strategy, when it comes from that place of lack, why are you strategizing in the first place? Ask yourself that. Why? Why are you strategizing? When it's something creative, when it's something fulfilling, when it's something loving, exciting. I think of the Knight of Cups as like the butterflies in your stomach before you go on a date and you meet someone and you're just like, oh, you're like doing the test, you know, like you're doing all that. You're like, how does my hair look? Oh, how does all this look? Like, it's that kind of nervous excitement. It's not, and the thing is that fear and excitement are two sides of the same coin, right? They're two sides of the same coin. So you can feel terrified, but it's the same energy right next door to excitement. But it's your perception and your strategic. If you feel like you need a strategy, because who you are isn't enough, every single time you will be unable to show up as you are, and like you will miss out on this deliciousness. You'll miss out on it. I'm gonna pull 2 more here. Spirit, what messages do you have for my creative collective, my creative unconscious collective? All the cards, please. That works for me. Okay, so we have the 3 of Wands, the 5 of Swords, the Wheel of Fortune, Death, and the 7 of Swords. Literally everything I just said, it's almost like Spirit saying, like, I said what I said, right? Because we have, like, this, it's like, it's almost, so if I look at it this way, like, if I look at it, if I read it like a book, left to right, it's like feeling like you need to, like your 7 of Swords, like that's like this, like that's inauthenticity. That's really what this is. This is inauthenticity, and feeling like you have to like keep parts of yourself away, or like who wants to, do you see those big ass swords? Who wants to carry them under your arm? I don't even like carrying kitchen knives across the kitchen all the time, right? Like I want to do it in place. But it's like, so it's like, why be in that energy? Because even if you're not taking from anybody other than yourself, it still doesn't make it okay, right? And then you get this transformative energy. Again, I've said it before, I love the Death card so very much, but this is that transformation, right? 7 of Swords and Death, like, you're like, F this, like, I am worth so much more than this. And then the Wheel steps in and goes, yes, you are. Expands things for you. More opportunities will come. You have to believe in yourself, though, and not just believe in yourself like, oh, I can do it, because you can, and that's an important aspect of that. But when people say believe in yourself, this is part of being neurodivergent, is I like to take things that are implied, because sometimes that's a struggle. Being neurodivergent places you on the autism spectrum. I'm on the very far end of it, but it's like this energy here is like the implied. What does believe in yourself imply, right? Let's take it down from the theoretical and abstract into something that's grounded into the everyday. Believing in yourself might look like striking up conversations with somebody. Believing in yourself might look like starting new things, like for this channel, or creatively, example, like to use that as an example, could be writing articles for things that you've never thought of before. It could be striking out on your own in business. It could be even just putting together a plan, right? It can be doing all of these things. It can be reaching out to somebody that you like, even if you're like, well, like, I don't know, you don't have to like come like knocking the door down or anything. I mean, if that's your thing, great. Because then again, like I'm somebody that likes direct, but like you can do that. So, like it depends on what you prefer, really. Yeah, like it just little acts of courage every day tell you that you believe in yourself, because it's whatever you can handle. You'll be able to handle whatever comes. That's that, whatever you can handle. It's like Spirit says, like, okay, whatever you can handle, but it's you. It starts with you. This top or bottom of the wheel is up to you. She really just wants to snuggle up and watch TV with me. That's what this angry tale is about. I know, boo-boo. We're gonna... yeah. So we were curled up reading before, and I moved, and so she came here. Yeah, so 5 of Swords and 3 of Wands. So you then get to a place where you have to decide what style of conflict are you going to go with. And strategy is a conflict. Strategy is a style of conflict. It's choosing a particular style. It's choosing a particular way of doing conflict. And I think that you are seeing all of this. It's almost like you're seeing all of this so clearly, and you're choosing the positive and higher outcome and input as well. I feel like that's you choosing, like I really get this impression, like it's you looking back at all of this stuff. I'm hearing the song Closing Time by Semisonic. It's like a staple of hockey games, but it's like this, the cycle is over. It's over. It's done. It's done. Congratulations. That's really what I feel. This is like you just reflecting and saying it's done. Spirit, can I get some messages on that just to close out this reading for my creative unconscious collective, please? Are you fucking kidding me? It's done. New day. New day. Wow. Usually I have a theme to meditate on, but this kind of came right out. Dang. Do we want... Yeah, let's get 2 chakra messages. Spirit, what messages do you have for my Okay, so I'm supposed to get one of these first. Spirit, what messages do you have for my creative unconscious collective? Alliance and conjunction. A little bit of working together. Capricorn and achieve. Full moon in Capricorn, baby. Right there. 9th house and exploration. There's the wheel. These are definitely repeating messages. Oh my goodness. Like, big time. Okay. I'll pull from the chakra deck here. Spirit, what messages do you have for my creative unconscious collective? Creativity. I am free to play, free to love, laugh, and experiment. And remember, you are. Remember that. Don't doubt that for a second. And be in that experimentation. You can't get it wrong when it's your Ace of Swords. You just can't. I am free to experience, to create, and to manifest. I'm free to be myself. I allow my creative potential to flow through me in all of its glory and magnificence. I flow. I'm hearing rest. Get yourself some rest. I know that I need to take that own advice from Spirit. I know I need to take that advice too. Greatness. I like, love, and accept myself. I am wonderful and talented and know that greatness resides within me. I harness my greatness and show up in the world. I allow myself to be seen and heard. Hell yeah, baby, right there. I cultivate my genius and observe with love and excitement as my greatness makes a positive difference in the world. I am wonderful. Yes, you are. And I'm going to pull some notes from the universe on Love and Connection by Mike Dooley. They chose you. I'm going to read this to you because it's beautiful. You might not readily believe this. It might even spook you a little bit. But there are those who chose this very lifetime, in large part knowing you'd be there. Now that's what we call a reputation. Yes. But also you chose other people too. That's the community part. And when you show up as a giraffe instead of a zebra pretending to be one, like when you show up in your authentic self, or a zebra pretending to be a giraffe, when you show up, whatever those cards were. Yeah. When you show up authentically, that's how they find you. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk. So that is your reading for Saturday, July 16th. Yeah, this is excellent. This is excellent energy, my friends. I hope to have a video out tomorrow. If my voice cooperates, I will. For the 17th, my affirmations. I endeavor to make a video every day. I've been doing so for a couple months now, and I don't plan on giving up on that anytime soon. So we'll see. I might have to rework it, but you know what? It's fine. It's still going to happen. But also taking mindful rest. I do have this weekend off from work, so I'm going to spend some time to really get some rest and caught up on that. So yeah, this was your reading though. If it resonated, please like and subscribe. I would love to have you on the channel if you are not already here. Thank you so much for joining me here. If you are part of my subscriber base already, I really appreciate this and you. Also, wherever this finds you, my friends, there are other ways you can connect with me on the channel, so do check that out. But wherever this finds you on the time-space continuum, morning, afternoon, or night, I hope it finds you very, very well. Take care of your beautiful selves and have a wonderful day, my friends.